All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining me on this program. This is the Fountain of Israel's Bible Studies program. And as always, it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's holy Sabbath day. And again, this is not any ordinary Sabbath. This is that time of year again. This is one of the Most High's feast days. And this one, we're going to be doing the Feast of Trumpets, or the Memorial of Trumpets. But before we get into that, just let me go ahead and remind you and encourage you to like, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell, and check the description box below just in case you guys may want to share or bless the ministry with donation. Totally up to you. Check the description box down below. Now, that out of the way, let's get right into our lesson. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining me each and every week. And I also want to thank everyone who has already been supporting. I just want to let you know I've seen it, got it, received, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you very, very much. Just want to let you know I didn't want to ignore anyone on that. Okay, so the PayPals, they've been coming through, and the Cash Apps, they're coming through. Just letting you guys know it is working. Anyway, I will be teaching regardless of what you do. If your support is simply liking, sharing, and subscribing, that is appreciated, okay? Period. It doesn't matter to me. It's appreciated. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the Memorial of Trumpets. Okay, so when it comes to this whole idea of Memorial of Trumpets, brothers and sisters, is that trumpet symbolizes a couple of things, okay? It could be a warning. It could be an announcement. If we look back and we look at some medieval pieces or some Renaissance type pieces or something like that, when someone of dignity, someone of royalty, right, they will have, like, sometimes they might have a procession and they might have trumpets being blown and, you know, all that to welcome someone in, right? So how much more would that mean if the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords is coming back to invade the earth? Coming back to claim the earth? What does that, does that even sound like something that is worthy of the entrance or the grand entrance of a king? And that is exactly what we're talking about. But we're going to look at the different instances of what it means. Okay, it's a proclamation, it's a warning, it's an announcement. This is what the symbolism of trumpets, right? Okay, it depends on the context, could mean a couple of different things, but as I said in other lessons, especially these feast days lessons, is that the beautiful thing about these holy days is that it reveals the plan of the Most High Yah and his Messiah. That's exactly what's going on. It reveals it. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. And this time, I'm going to be reading it out of the Scriptures version of the Bible rather than the King James. We're going to go from the Scriptures version of the Bible rather than the King James. Now, if I repeat or something, it may be from the King James. But we're going to go ahead and get it from the Scriptures version first, right? So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go to Colossians chapter 2. We're going to read verse 11. Excuse me, we're going to read verse 11 through 14, and then we'll move around a little bit. So, Ephesians 2:11, and it says, "In him you were also circumcised with a circumcision not made with hands, and the putting off of the body of sins of the flesh by circumcision of Messiah, having been buried with him in immersion, in which you also were raised with him through the belief of the workings of Elohim, who raised him from the dead. And you being dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, he has made alive together with him, having forgiven all trespasses, having blotted out that which was written by hand against us by the dogmas which stood against us, and he has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the stake." And they're going to drop down. We're going to read 16 and 17. Let no man therefore judge you in the eating or in drinking or in respect of festival or a new moon or Sabbaths, which are a shadow of what is to come, but the body of the Messiah. But the body of the Messiah. So we're doing these things. Now remember, I want you guys to consider something, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, well, we don't have to do it because look, right here, he says, let no one judge you. Okay, we all know that does not make sense. That defies logic. Let me explain. If Paul is going to a people who were not previously observing festivals and new moons and what you eat and what you drink, things like that, who were not doing it, then who's going to come along and judge them for not doing it? And he's preaching, you don't have to worry about doing it. See, what sense does that make? Now, or does it make more sense that he was teaching them to do so, teaching them the meaning? What is the meaning of the new moons? What is the meaning of the Sabbaths? What is the meaning of festivals or holy days in this case? Teaching them these things and then turn around and warning them and saying, let nobody judge you because now you're doing this. Which one makes more sense to you, brothers and sisters? Okay? So let's go ahead and continue. And I just wanted to put to bed that utter nonsense and encourage you to keep doing this. Encourage you to keep moving forward in this. Encourage you to keep walking in this, because what they're trying to do, the enemy is trying to steal this away from you, steal this information away from you, and tell you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. You don't have to do anything, which means you have no accountability. You have no responsibility. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do, sit back, kick your feet up, believe. That's it, right? So, but we know there's something more at stake from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23. Okay, Leviticus 23. All right, and or Wahikra in the Hebrew. 23. Okay, we're in 23, and we're going to read a little bit. We're going to start at the first 4 verses, then we'll drop down to 23. And Yah, okay, is Yahweh, Yahweh. I just usually just say Yah for short, because that's the only thing, that's the only consensus that we can reach. So I just usually just say Yah, okay? But it's the tetragrammaton in this particular text, in the scriptures version. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Yisrael, and say unto them, the appointed times of Yah, which you are to proclaim as set apart gatherings, my appointed times are these. 6 days work is done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest. A set apart gathering, you do no work, it is a Sabbath to Yah and all your dwellings, right? So he starts with the 6-day Sabbath. These are the appointed times of Yah, set apart gatherings, which you are to proclaim at their appointed times. That's what these are, the moeds or moedims, right? The appointed times. All right. So we're going to drop down to verse 23, and we'll read 23 to 25. 23. And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th new moon, on the 1st day of the new moon, ye have a rest, a remembrance of Teruah, a set apart gathering. You do no servile work, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yah. 25. Let me read that again. You do no servile work, and ye shall bring an offering made by fire to Yah. Okay. Then of course Moses went ahead and told them everything that was supposed to be said in that. Okay, so this is a memorial, like he was saying. Now, if we read this over here in the King James, I'm gonna start at 23. Okay, in verse 23 of Leviticus 23, it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation. Okay, unholy conversation. That's where Teruah, when I was saying that, that's what the Teruah is. So he was just saying this is what you're going to do, right? So they also blew trumpets like when there was a new moon. Now some people, when I was in the Midwest, I was in Missouri, and there was there are communities out there. I'll just put it like that. There are a few communities out there, and some, they actually observe the new moons, or the Hebrew new month, right? So they'll blow trumpets and they have a feast every time a new month comes in. They did do it in the Bible. I'm not saying whether you have to do it or not. Some people, you're just memorializing or acknowledging a new month. Hey, I encourage you to do so if you want to do that. Okay, it's not bad if you do it or anything like that. It's okay. But let me show you over in Psalm or Tehillim, right, real quick, and then we'll go back over here to Shemot, which is Exodus. But let me go over to Psalm, and I want to go to 81, Tehillim or Psalm 81. And it says here, now I only want one verse, right? So we're going to go to Tehillim 81, and I'm just going to read verse 3. Verse 3 says, blow a shofar in the new moon, in the covering for the day of our festival, okay? In the covering of the day for our festival. Or the King James, it may say, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. So I want to put this right here. This feast day, this is the memorial, the blowing of the trumpets. Okay, so we want to keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to keep going, and we're going to go over to Exodus, and we're going to go to Shemot. We want to look at this thing. We want to dive deep. One of the things I like to do when teaching this lesson is that I like to go ahead and show you guys what we do and why we do it. Kind of get you an explanation, right? So you'll know, okay, so why exactly are we doing this whole feast day thing, or what does it mean? That's why you gather around, you, your family, your children, you gather around. And in that way, after you look at the meaning of this, after you look at the lesson, after I go through it, I explain it and all that, what you do with your family, afterwards, you talk about it with your family. You discuss it. Maybe you ask your children, so what do you think? What do you think about this part? What do you think about that part? What do you think about these scriptures? You jot down the scriptures, okay? You either write them down as we go, or sometimes I have them in the description box below. You just check that out. But that's what you want to do. The reason why is because we put this energy into these pagan holidays, did we not? We put all this energy, and we told them, well, we didn't do any deep explanation, but when you come to, like, for example, the Christmas, what did we do before? I know you guys don't do it now, but what did we do before? We just say, oh, well, you better watch out, you better not cry and all that. You want to be good. Santa's going to bring you some gifts, put it under the tree for you, all that other stuff. Well, or some people, the Christian version is, oh, well, we're celebrating Jesus' birthday, and, it's all about Jesus and him being born and baby in a manger and Joseph and Mary and all that other stuff, right? We told them all that stuff, even though we got gifts for ourselves, really didn't do anything for Christ, but we say it's for him. We got stuff for us, and we said it's for him, and that kind of thing, or made it about us. So I want you to put the same energy you use for the pagan holidays, which means nothing to us, which profit us nothing. Put that same energy into the feast days and the festivals. Oh, well, I'm not part of the group. Okay, you as a family, you guys do it together. Do it as a family. Look at it, make it a part of be at even. You look at it, hey guys, we're gonna look at this lesson, and then we're gonna feast. We're gonna eat this food. Okay, you get your Yeshaya, you get your wife. You say, okay, we're gonna make a big feast. Get it ready, get it prepared. Okay, same thing. Remember what we used to do for Thanksgiving? Make that type of feast. Okay, just make a big feast, clean food, of course. Make a big feast, get ready, get prepared. Get a lesson together, pray together, and eat the food together, worship the Most High. Not that hard. Why? Because you're memorializing. That's it. Oh, well, we're not in our land. You're memorializing. That's it. That's it. You're identifying who you belong to. Do you belong to the Most High or not? Right? That's it. That's all you're doing. Okay? So let's go on over to Exodus or Shemot. And I'm going to start at 19. I'm going to start at I'm going to go to chapter 19, and then I will read from verse 10 to 22. Okay? Verse 10. It reads this. And Yah said to Moshe, go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their garments. And it shall be prepared, by the third day. For on the third day, Yah shall come down upon Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people. And ye shall make a border for the people all around, saying, take heed to yourselves, that you do not go up to the mountain or touch the border of it. And whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot with an arrow, with a man or beast. He shall not live. When the Yobel sound long, let them come near the mountain. And Moshe came down from the mountain to the people and set the people apart, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, be prepared by the third day, and do not come near a wife. And it came to be on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain. And the voice of a shofar was very strong, and all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was in smoke, all of it, because Yah descended upon it in fire. And the smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and all the mountain trembled exceedingly. And when a voice of the shofar sounded long and became very strong, Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by voice. And Yah came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mountain, and Yah called Moshe to the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. And Yah said to Moshe, go down and warn the people, lest they break through unto Yah to see, and many of them fall. And let the priests who come near Yah set themselves apart too, lest Yah break out against them. And lest Yah break out against them. Okay, so we know he's gonna after all of this and everyone had to get ready, we know pretty soon, Exodus 20 and all that, he started giving the 10 commandments and everything. He's preparing them, getting them ready. So we're just gonna skip up. I'm gonna go to chapter 20 real quick, right? And I'm just gonna read 18. Okay, we're still in the same book. I'm just gonna read verse 18 real quick. And all the people saw the thunders and lightning flashes, the voice of the shofar, and the mountain smoking. And the people saw it, and they trembled and stood at a distance. Remember what I told you at the beginning of this lesson? I said, it's an announcement. It's a proclamation. Something's about to happen. It's about to go down, right? And so this is obviously in 20 is where, they get the 10 commandments and all that stuff, right? Where they got that. But it's about to happen. He's about to make an announcement. He's about to make a proclamation. The king is about to show up. Right? So let us keep going. We're going to go to John or Yohanan. Let's see here. Okay. We're going to go to John. I'm going to go to 14 when I get there. Yohanan or John 14, and I'm just going to read the first 3 verses when we get there. Yohanan 14, it says, let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Elohim. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many staying places, and if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you might be also. Okay, so he said, I'm going to go, I'm going to prepare a place. And when it's time, when I'm ready, I'm going to come and receive you when it is ready. So let's take a look at that. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Let's look at when, he leaving and all that. Let's go to the book of Acts. Okay. Book of Acts. And we're going to start in the first chapter, but we're going to read 6 and 7, then we'll move around. 6 and 7, then 9 through 12. Verse 6 says this. So when they had come together, they asked him, saying, Master, would you at this time restore the rain to Israel? And he said to them, it is not for you to know times or seasons which the Father has put in his own authority. We're going to drop down to 9. And having said this, while they were looking on, he was taken up, and a cloud hid him from their sight. Okay. And as they were gazing into the heavens as he went up, see, two men stood by them dressed in white, who also said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand looking up into the heavens? Yes, this same Yeshua who was taken up from you into heaven shall come in the same way as you saw him go into heaven. Okay. And let's see, verse 12. Then they went back to Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives, which is near Jerusalem, a Sabbath day journey. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and let you guys see that real quick. Now, they went over there, like I said, in verse 12, if you read it in the King James, in verse 12 it says, and they returned unto Jerusalem from the Mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. Okay, so we know where they were, right? When he ascended, we know where they were. Okay, that's very, very important. I wanted us to get that squared away. Okay, and then he also ascended up, right? Okay, so with that, let's go over to where I want to go. I want to go to Zechariah. We're going to go to Zechariah. And let's see. It takes me a second here, guys, with the scriptures version of the Bible, but we will get there. 1 second. And when we get to Zechariah, we want to go to chapter 14. Chapter 14 and first 4 verses. Verse 1 says, See, a day shall come from Yah, and your spoil shall be divided in your midst. And I shall gather all the nations to battle against Jerusalem, to battle against Jerusalem, and the city shall be taken and houses plundered and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go into exile, but the remnant of the people shall not be cut off from the city. And Yah shall go forth, and he shall fight against those nations as he fights in the day of battle. And in that day his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from east to west, a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south. Do we understand? When he comes back, where is he going? He said the same way you guys saw him leave is the same way you're going to see him arrive. So when he comes back, where is he going? Let's read that again. It says, and in that day his feet shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east, or Yerushalayim on the east. So are we making this up, or are we reading in the scripture where it says, 1, he left, 2, he's coming back, 3, where he will stand when he returns, right? So let's go ahead and go back to the Brit Hadashah, or New Testament, and when we get there, okay, we're going to go to Matthew, or Matthew, and we're going to go to chapter 24. And I'm just going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to read a couple of verses a little bit. We know this is basically Matthew 24 really kind of outlines the beginning of the end, basically, as it unfolds. But verse 3 of Matthew is, and as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the taught ones came to him separately, saying, say to us, when shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Right? So I'm going to drop down to 32. So they ask questions. They want clarity. Drop 32 and I'll read 32 to 34. 32 says this, and learn this parable from the fig tree, which its branches has already become tender and put forth leaves. You know that the summer is near. So you also, when you all see these, know that he is near at the doors. Truly I say unto you, this generation shall by no means pass away until all this takes place. Okay, so he's talking to them. He's letting them know all these things will be fulfilled. The generations that he's referring to. They're going to see these type things. It is coming. It is about to happen. We need to prepare ourselves. We need to be ready. It's an announcement. It is a proclamation. Okay, so let's go to, we're going to back up a little bit. We're in 24, but I'm going to go to verse 11. Verse 11 says this, and many false prophets shall rise up and lead many astray. And because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. Why does it read that way? The increase of lawlessness, because that the law is love, right? If you look at the first 10, now we know there's a lot more than just the top 10. Okay, we know that. Okay, we know that. But just to make a point, let me simply say, obviously the first 4 is how we love the Most High, Yah, and Messiah. And the last 6 of the top 10 of the Decalogue is how do we love our neighbors. Therefore, in the New Testament, or the Brit Hadashah, when he says the top 2, the main 2 laws is to love Yah with all thy heart, mind, and soul. And then the second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself. Obviously, both scriptures are located in the Old Testament, so it's just really quoting the Old Testament. But that's what it means when it means to love And so when he says the love of many shall wax cold, meaning it will get, people won't show any love. People won't have any love for each other, meaning they will be lawless, because it says, for the lawlessness shall increase, is verse 12. Because of the increase in lawlessness, see the connection? The love of many shall wax cold, meaning there is no love. If you don't have law, you don't have no love. It's really that simple to understand. It really is that simple. If I do not touch my neighbor's wife, I am loving him. I'm showing respect for him. I'm showing honor and respect and love for the Most High Yah and the Messiah. If I don't do that, if I don't covet anything that he has, I am showing love. If I do not steal, I am showing love. If I do not commit murder, I am showing love. Does that make sense? Okay. For the love of many, because of the increase in lawlessness, the love of many shall become cold. But he who shall have endured to the end shall be saved. Who have endured, who has kept the faith, who have kept pushing, who have kept Torah, who have kept the love or kept law, who kept the covenant. If he endures it until the end, till it's all over, till he passes away, or until the Messiah shows up, you'll be okay. Right? Does it make sense? Okay, the same, endure, you shall be saved. Let me drop to 21, which reads, for then there shall be great distress, such as has not been seen the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor ever shall be. So it's going to be something real different. Okay, something real different is going to happen. It's like the next level type stuff, right? Next level is going to happen. So let's go ahead and look again, go to our next spot here. We're going to go to the book of Daniel. Let's go to the book of Daniel, and we're just going to get a couple of places when we get there. So we're going to go to book of Daniel, and we're going to go to chapter 11. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. I'm going to start at verse. Not there yet. Okay, so now we're going to start at verse 31, and then we'll move around. Verse 31, which reads, "And strong ones shall rise from him and profane the set apart place, the stronghold, and shall take away that which is continual and set up the abomination that lays waste." See, so that's what's going to happen there, right? We're going to drop down to 36. "And the sovereign shall do as he pleases and exalt himself and show himself to be great above every mighty one, and speak incredible matters against the El of mighty ones, and shall prosper until the wrath has been accomplished. For what has been decreed shall be done." For what has been decreed shall be done. For those of you who have the King James Version, 31 says, "And the arm shall stand on its part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that make it desolate." And if we drop to, that was 31, if we drop to 36, it's going to read, "And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and prosper, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done." So we're talking about, obviously, false prophets, false Messiah, well, not the prophet, but, false, Messiah in his day. It's going to do some very, very bad things, right? Now, the reason we talk about that is so when it happens, you recognize it. You know what's going on. If you should so happen to be alive at this time, right? So speaking of that, let's go ahead and look again. Let's look at Daniel. Now we're in chapter 12, okay, of Daniel. Okay. Daniel 12, we're going to do the first two verses, which says, "And now, at that time, Michael, or Michael, shall stand up, the great head who is standing over the sons of your people, and there shall be a time of distress such as never has since there was a nation until that time. And at that time your people shall be delivered, every one who is found written in the book. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth wake up, some to everlasting life, and some to reproaches, everlasting abhorrence." And we're going to drop to verse 6. We're going to read 6 and 7. 6 and 7. "And one said to the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, and how long until the end of these wonders? And I heard the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, and he held up his right hand and his left hand to the heavens, and swore by him who lives forever, that it would be for an appointed time, appointed times, and half a time. And when they have ended scattering the power of the set apart people, then all these shall be completed." So it's talking about when all complete. And that's where we have our interpretation of the times, and half the times. We get the 3.5 years, right? There's 3.5 years of this great distress, this great tribulation, right? And we do that of the, we get it from Revelation, and when they have the days, and so they talk about pretty much the same thing, the end times, right? And so they point that out. So we're going to go ahead and keep going, moving forward, as we continue to get an understanding of all this. So we're going to get to 2nd Thessalonians. 2nd Thessalonians. Let's go over there. All right, there we go. There, okay, over here. So 2nd Thessalonians, and we're gonna, when we get there, we're gonna go chapter 2. Okay, and when we get to chapter 2nd Thessalonians, we're going to chapter 2. We'll read the first 4 verses, which reads, "As the coming of our Master Yeshua, Messiah, and our gathering together to him, we ask you, brothers, not to become easily unsettled in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if it was from us, as if the day of Yah has come, or the Lord has come. Let no one deceive you in any way, because of the falling away is to come first, and the man of lawlessness is to be revealed, the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he sits as Elohim in the dwelling place of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim." Okay, so I want you guys to understand that. You got to look at the characteristics. You got to have an understanding of what's to come, like what's going to happen. What does all this mean? I want you guys to really understand. That's why we're breaking it down. What's going to happen? We're going to look at the end of these things, right? So let's go ahead and go back over to the Old Testament, and let's take a look at some of these trumpets, right? So let's go to Ba Mikbah, right? Go to Ba Mikbah, or Numbers. Ben Mikbah, chapter 31. Chapter 31, Numbers 31. We're going to read when we get there, we're going to read the first 7 verses. Chapter 31. Numbers of Ben Mikbah. "And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, Take vengeance for the children of Israel on the Midianites. After that, you are to be gathered to your people. And Moshe spoke to the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves for the campaign, and let them go against the Midianites to take vengeance for Yah on Midian. Send 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel for the campaign." So there were supplied from the tribes of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed ones for the campaign. And Moshe sent them on the campaign 1,000 from each tribe, them and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest of the campaign, with the set apart utensils and the trumpets for sounding in his hand. And they fought against the Midianites, and as Yah commanded Moshe, and killed all the males. So warning, they gotta blow the trumpets in hand, ready to go, right? It's a proclamation when something is about to go down. Now let's go to Yeshua or Joshua, or Yehoshua or Joshua, Yehoshua. We're going to go to chapter 6. And we're going to read the first 8 verses of Yehoshua or Joshua, chapter 6. And it reads, "And Jericho was shut up tight because of the presence of the sons of Israel, none going out and none coming in. And Yah said to Yehoshua, See, I have given Jericho and its sovereign, mighty, brave men into your hand. And you shall go around the city, all the men of battle, going around the city once. Do this for 6 days. And let 7 priests bear 7 shofarets and of Yobelim before the ark. And on the 7th day, go around the city 7 times while the priests blow with the shofar. And it shall be when they make a long blast with the horn of the yobel, and when you hear the voice of the shofar, that all the people shout with a great sound, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and people shall go up, every man straight before him. And Yehoshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 shofarets of Yobelim before the ark of Yah. And he said to the people, pass over and go around the city, and let him who is armed pass over before the ark of Yah. And it came to be, when Yehoshua had spoken to the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 shofarets of Yobelim before Yah passed over and blew with the shofaret, and the ark of the covenant of Yah went after them. It's a warning. It's about to go down. Something is about to happen. We're going to drop and go to verse 12 real quick. Something is about to happen. Let's go to verse 12. And the manna ceased on the day. I'm sorry. Hold on. Sorry. Wrong one. Okay. And then it says, and Yehoshua rose up early in the morning, and the priest took up the ark of Yah. And 7 priests bearing the 7 shofarets of the Yobelim before the ark of Yah were walking, going on, and they blew with the shofaret, and the armed men went before them. But the rear guard came after the ark of Yah, going on and blowing with the shofaret. We're going to drop down to verse 15. And it came to be on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and went around the city 7 times in this way. Only on that day they went around the city 7 times. Okay, so they were following instructions. 16. And it came to be at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the shofaret, that Yehoshua said to the people, shout, for Yah has given you the city. He said it loudly. Shout, for Yah has given you the city. I mean, you won. You have victory, right? They're blowing it, proclaiming that they going to have victory. We're going to drop down to verse 20. Verse 20. Verse 20, and it reads, and the people shouted when the priest blew the shofaret. And it came to be, when the people heard the voice of the shofar, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell flat. And the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they captured the city. The Most High gave them victory. The Most High gave them victory. I hope you guys are starting to get an idea of what's going on. Okay, this is what it means to understand these moeds, to understand these appointed times, these moedim. This is what it means to understand what's going on. See, he gives us this little picture. He gives us this little idea. We do these little or understand these practical things. And in that day, he gave them these things to understand this is what it's going to be when he comes back. The Feast of Trumpets, announcing his arrival. And when he shows up, it's going to be war. It's going to be a takeover. Okay? It's going to be a takeover. So we're going to look at it a little bit in the King James. I'll give it to you in the King James. Okay. Joshua chapter 6. We're going to look at it in the King James. It says, now Jericho was straightly shut up because the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. This is what you're going to do for 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. In 7 days ye shall compass the city 7 times. And the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. And the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. So pass by, the ark of the Lord, right? And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horn passed on before the Lord, and blew with trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. Now I'm going to drop to verse 12. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horn before the ark of the Lord went on continually, and blew with the trumpets. And the armed men went before them. But the reward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing with trumpets. Drop to 15. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, shout, for the Lord had given you the city. And I want you guys to understand that at that point, they didn't even have to do that much. The reason why is that the Most High wanted you to know that it was Him, and not necessarily your might, or in this case, their might. All I had to do was circle the city 6 times, but then on the seventh day, do 7 times and blow the trumpets, blow the shofar, and the walls came down. Just letting them know that it is definitely Him that is working this particular miracle. Okay, and we drop down to 20. And it says, so the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpets, and the people shouted with a great shout, but the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they took the city. So they got victory. They have achieved victory. So, victory is coming when the Messiah returns. When He comes and He rolls back that sky, and He comes, and the sea gives up their dead, and the earth gives up her dead, and they start ascending, and those that are alive and remain, and they begin to ascend. And then Messiah and all His saints begin to move towards where? Where do you think? Right, good class, Jerusalem, the Mount of Olives. When He begins to start setting things up for that great battle. Which battle was that? The one in the Valley of Decision, right? Armageddon. It's a great announcement. This is what's happening. These are the things that are starting to happen, starting to unfold. We have to run these parallels so that we get an understanding so that we're not caught off guard. See, when Bible teachers, when we get in front of this podium, what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to arm you. We're supposed to prepare you. You're supposed to know a little bit more leaving or at the conclusion of a lesson. Even if it's just one extra little nugget, know a little something, or at least confirm something you know, if nothing else. So that you're prepared, so that you have these spiritual or biblical eyes to recognize things out in the real world as you pass on, as you go about. See, these are the things that you and I are robbed of when we gave so many years sitting in a place that wasn't teaching us anything, but rather give us just a spiritual feeling? It's okay to have a spiritual feeling, but are you getting truth? Is there any substance with that feeling? Is there any meaning with that? Are you being prepared? Are you being prepared mentally? Are you ready for what's to come? Can you discern? Because plenty of times we just sat there, we had a nice good feeling, whatever, close the book, boom, come back next week, try to get ourselves, chase a feeling again. But with all that getting, get some understanding. What did he say that he would do, or the priest would do when he get it to? I'll give you pastors that what will feed you with knowledge and understanding. What did he say to Peter after he asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" Right? He said, "What? Feed my sheep." Feed you with knowledge and understanding. And that's what it means to be in this thing. That's what we're talking about here, dealing with these feast days. This is the Feast of Trumpets. Okay, this is the Feast of Trumpets. This is only first part. We're going to go over trumpets a little bit more. It's not the conclusion of it. We're going to go over it a little bit more this feast day because it's just that important. But I want to give you enough to digest so that you can lead a Bible discussion in your home. Talk it over with your wife. Talk it over with your children. Let's give them understanding. The Feast of Trumpets, it's an announcement. It's a proclamation. It's letting you know the King is coming. I hope someone has gotten something out of this lesson. This is only part 1. Join me for the second part. So until next time, search the scriptures. Improve all things. Shalom, Israel. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and welcome back to part 2 of the memorial or the blowing of the trumpets or the Feast of Trumpets. Just want to give you guys a quick little break, and we're going to jump right back into the lesson. Now, with that being said, we're going to jump right back in because this one won't be, quite as long, but I want to hit some very important points here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Nehemiah chapter 4. And then I'm going to read 15 through 18, and then we'll jump to 20. Okay, Nehemiah chapter 4, and I'm starting at verse 15, which reads, And it came to be, when our enemies heard that it was known to us that Elohim had brought their counsel to naught, for all of us returned to the wall, everyone to his work. And it came to be from the time on that half of the servants were working in the work, while the other half was holding spears, the shields, and the bows, and the breastplates, and the rulers were behind all the house of Yehuda. And let's see, we're going to go 17. Who were building on the wall, and those bearing burdens were loading, working with one hand in the work, and with the other hand, they all holding a weapon. As for the builders, each one had his sword girded at his side as he built, and the one who sounded with the shofar was beside me. Now I'm going to drop down to verse 20 for you guys. In whatever place you hear the voice of the shofar, join us there. Our Elohim fights for us. Again, we're signaling, right? We're signaling. We're warning. It's a call. Sometimes it's a call to action. You see how apropos it is when it comes to us understanding this feast. It's just so important. I get overwhelmed. I'm stumbling at my words because I get overwhelmed when I think of all the feast days all together. When I think of all these holy days, and that is, it actually maps out the plan of God. Maps out exactly what Yah is going to do with his people when he returns. So the Feast of Trumpets is that announcement of his return. It's the return of the King. Now we're going to go ahead and keep going. let's go to our next spot here. We are going to go to Psalm 97. Okay, and we're going to get that from the King James. I'm over in the Scriptures version, but we're going to get that from the King James. So let me get to that real quick. And when we get to Psalm 97, I'm going to read the first 10 verses. Psalm 97, the first 10 verses. Let's see here. It says, "The Lord reigneth, let the earth rejoice. Let the multitude of the isles be glad thereof. Clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitations of his throne. A fire go forth before him and burn it up his enemies round about. His lightnings enlighten the world. The earth saw and trembled. The hills melted like wax at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Confounded be all they that serve graven images, that boast themselves of idols. Worship him, all ye gods. Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoiced because of the judgments, O Lord. For thou, Lord, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods. Ye that love the Lord, hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivered them out of the hands of the wicked." He delivered them out of the hands of the wicked. Let's go over here to Tehillim real quick, right? Which is Psalms. And to get there, we're going to get it out of the Scriptures version. Psalm 97. And let's read that. Psalm 97. We're just going to read 1 through 10. It says, "Yah shall reign. The earth rejoices. The many isles are glad. Clouds and darkness all around him. Righteousness and right ruling are the foundations of his throne. Fire goes before him and burns up his adversaries round about. His lightning shall light the world. The earth shall see and tremble. The mountains shall melt like wax before the face of Yah, before the face of the master of all the earth. The heaven shall declare his righteousness, and all the people shall see his esteem. All are put to shame who serve carved images, but boast of matters of naught. Bow yourselves to him, all you mighty ones. Zion shall hear and be glad, and the daughters of Yehudah rejoice because of the right rulings, O Yah. For you, Yah, are the most high over all the earth, and ye shall be greatly exalted over all mighty ones. You who love Yah, hate evil. He guards the lives of his loving, committed ones. He delivers them out of the hand of the wrong. Deliver them out of the hand of the wrong. We're going to get in that because we're talking about when these things happen, those that are his, the saints, will be delivered out of it. That's the point of me putting this in there. When the trumpet sounds and the king shows up and he begins to wreak utter havoc on this world, he will preserve the saints. He will preserve those who are his. He will preserve those who love him. Okay? So now let's go to Hazan or Revelation. We're going to go to Hazan or Revelation. Well, actually, no. Before we go there, actually, we are going to go to Isaiah or Yeshayahu, and we're going to go to chapter 27 first. Then we'll go to Revelation. So 27, and I'm only going to read 12 and 13. Just want 12 and 13. And it says, "And in that day it shall be that Yah threshes from the channel of the river to the Wadi of Mithraim. And ye shall be gathered one by one, O children of Israel. And in that day it shall be that a great shofar is blown, and those who were perishing in the land of Ashur and the outcasts of the land of Mithraim shall come, and shall worship Yah in the set apart mountain in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. What does it say in the King James? It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O children of Israel. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and outcast of the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. Okay? So it is coming. A lot of stuff is going to be happening. He's coming. He's going to do a whole lot of redecorating. A whole lot of furniture is going to be moved. The question is, are you going to be ready? Are you going to be right? Are you going to be in the right spot? Right? Ready for this. So you got to have your mind and your spirit ready. And if he's given his people, the plan of action, giving us his word, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, it's up to us to read the playbook. Okay? If we're being recruited to the team, it is up to us to read the playbook. And these holy scriptures, brothers and sisters, that's the playbook. Okay? So let's take a look. Let's go to, like I said, Revelation. Let's go on over there. And let's see here. Hazan. And we're going to go to chapter 8. And I'm just going to read a couple of, because we're dealing with trumpets and things like that. Let's deal with this a little bit, okay? So, Revelation, chapter 8. We're going to read 1 through 3, and then I'll jump to another verse. First one. And when he opened the seventh seal, there came to be silence in heaven for about half an hour. And I saw the 7 messengers who stand before Elohim, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another messenger came and stood at the slaughter place, holding a golden censer, and much incense was given to him, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the set apart ones upon the golden slaughter place, which was before the throne. So now, we're going to drop down to verse 6. And the 7 messengers who held the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. Okay? Prepared themselves to sound. Okay? Now, what we're going to do, I'm also read, let's see here, verse 7. And it says, and the first messenger sounded, and there came to be hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And a third of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burned up. Right? So we're starting to see, and I just want to point out, we're starting to see things starting to take place. Right? It's things are starting to happen. Right? And as they start to happen, we just need to be aware of these things that start to happen. We're going to drop down Revelation 9. We're going to read the first one, then we'll drop to 11. I just want to show you something real quick. 9, verse 1, it says this. And the 5th messenger sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven, which had fallen to the earth, and the key to the pit of the deep was given to him. Okay, so we know this is where Hasatan, this is where Satan is taking the stage. This is where it's starting to happen. Let's drop down to 11. And they have over them a sovereign, the messenger of the pit of the deep, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in the Greek he has the name Apollyon. Okay, he has the Greek Apollyon. So now let's go ahead and move up to chapter 10. We're still in Revelation chapter 10, and we're going to read verse 7. Let's take a look at this. But in the days of the sounding of the 7th messenger, this is that 7th trump, when he is about to sound, the secret of Elohim shall also be ended, as he declared to his servants, the prophets. As he declares to his servants, the prophets. Okay, the mystery of God should be finished. Okay, the rest of it is going to be revealed. What is this mystery of God? What is this secret? What's going on at this 7th trump as a 7th angel began to sound? What is going on? Let's put it together, brothers and sisters. Let's put it together. Join me in 1 Corinthians. Okay, 1 Corinthians. Chapter 15, 1 Corinthians 15, and we're going to do 50 and 52. 15, we're going to start over here at 50 and 52. Okay, let's look at this mystery. And it says what? And this I say, brothers, that flesh and blood is unable to inherit the reign of Elohim. Neither does corruption inherit incorruption. So what should happen, Paul? Or Shaul? See, I speak a secret to you. So what is this secret? What is this mystery? Right? We're talking about a secret or a mystery. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna speak this secret to you. Ye shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. See, not everyone shall sleep. Not everyone will die, but everyone will be changed. All right, are you with me? In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Are we getting this? Oh, we got it? In the moment, in the twinkling eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. The mystery of God. When we read in Revelation, where it said Revelation 10 and 7, it says, but in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound what? His trumpet, the mystery of God should be finished, as he has declared to his servants, the prophets. And then what did Shaul or Paul say? Okay, I'm reading it to King James now. He said, what? Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of the eye, at the last trump. For the trump shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Are we getting to see that? See the mystery? It said there's a mystery in Revelation, and then Paul said there's a mystery. In Revelation, it says that it's going to happen when the seventh trumpet, when the seventh angel begins to sound his trump. And then Paul said that this mystery, I'm going to show you this mystery, and this is what's going to happen at the last trump, as the trumpet begins to sound. The last trump, 7. There's only 7 trumpets. So are we putting this together? Okay, give me a little feedback down below if we're starting to get it, if it's starting to make sense, if there's a correlation here, right? So we're going to keep on going. Don't worry, we are going to keep it going. Let's go to, we're going to go to Thessalonians here. We're going to go to 1 Thessalonians, and we're going to go to chapter 4. We're going to read 13 through 17. Chapter 4, 13 through 17. Now look at what it says here. Paul or Shaul is talking about this again. Okay. 13, it says this. Now, brothers, we do not wish you to be ignorant concerning those who have fallen asleep, lest you be sad as others who have no expectation. For if we believe that Yeshua died and rose again, so also Elohim shall bring with him those who sleep in Yeshua. For this we say to you by the word of the master, that we, the living who are left over at the coming of the master, shall in no way go before those who are asleep. Shall in no way. Because the master himself shall come down from heaven with a shout, with the voice of a chief messenger, and with the trumpet of Elohim, and the dead in Messiah shall rise first. Then we, the living, who are left over, shall be caught away together with them in the clouds to meet Messiah in the air, and so we shall always be with the Master. So we shall always be with the Master. Are we starting to see how these trumpets, they have some relevance to it? Are we starting to see that? Are we starting to get that? It certainly has a relevance. That's why it means. See, this is what we're missing out when we don't know what these feast days are. This is it right here. We don't know. So let's continue, brothers and sisters. Let's continue. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go to Matthew or Mattiyahu, right? We're going to go on over to Matthew. And we're going to go to Matthew 24. And remember what I said. Matthew 24 is the beginning of the end. It's talking about the beginning of the end. Okay? So Matthew 24, I'm going to read 29 through 31. Matthew 24, 29 to 31. It's kind of giving us an idea of what was it going to look like, right? The last days, that is. 29 and 31. 29. And immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Adam shall appear in the heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. And they shall see the Son of Adam coming on the clouds of the heavens with power and much esteem. And he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, ones from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other, basically all over the world. He's going to gather his elect. He's going to gather his saints from all over. He's going to do it at the trumpet. When the sun begins to darken and the stars fall from the sky and the moon not give her light and all that. And then all of a sudden, trumpet sounds. And then the Son of Adam shows up. And then those things that Shaul wrote about, that happens. You see how it's important for us to understand how these trumpets work? Well, I don't know if it's going to be some things are going to be happening, and we're certainly going to get our attention will be gotten, right? We will give our uninterrupted attention in that day when all these things are starting to happen. Would you agree with that? This is all I'm saying. We're going to go back to Hazan or Revelation, right? Let's go back to the end there, okay? We're still talking about 7 trumpets and 7 sounds, all that. Let's get back to it. He will have our undivided attention in that day. Trumpet seems to be able to do the trick, right? Because I told you before and in other lessons that he does or use very practical things to teach us something very spiritual. Okay, if that is starting to make sense, give me a 100 or praise Yah in the comment section. Revelation 11 or Hazan 11, we're going to go to 15 and 18, okay? I'm 11, we're going to go to 15 and 18. 15, it says, and the 7th messenger sounded, okay, 7, and there came to be loud voices in heaven saying, the reign of this world has become the reign of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders sitting before Elohim on their thrones fell on their faces and worshipped Elohim, saying, we give you thanks, O Yah El Shaddai, the one who is and who was and who is coming, because you have taken your great power and reigned. And the nations were enraged. And your wrath has come in the time of the dead to be judged and to give the reward to your servants, the prophets, and the set apart ones, and to those who fear your name, small and great, and to destroy those who destroy the earth. A lot is starting to happen, brothers and sisters. All of this at that last trump. All of this at that last trump. Oh, we're starting to get it? All of this at that last trump. Okay? Let's get a little bit more. Okay? Let's go to we're still in Revelation. We're still in Hazan. Let's go to 19. Okay? We're going to read 11 through 20. So let's go to 19, 11 through 20. And it says, I saw the heavens open up, and there was a white horse, and he who sat on him was called trustworthy and true. And in righteousness he judges and fights. And his eyes were a flame of fire, and on his hair were many crowns, having a name that had been written, which no one had perceived except himself. And having been dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yah. And the armies of heaven, dressed in fine linen, white and clean, followed him on white horses. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, and with it he should smite the nations, and he shall shepherd them with a rod of iron. And he treads the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of El Shaddai, and of his robe and on his thigh he has a name written, Sovereign of Sovereigns and Master of Masters. And I saw one messenger standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the birds that fly in mid-heaven, come and gather together for the supper of the great Elohim, to eat the flesh of sovereigns, and the flesh of commanders, and the flesh of strong ones, and the flesh of horses, and of those who sit on them, and the flesh of all people, free and slave, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the sovereigns of the earth and their armies gathered together to fight him who sat on the horse and his army. And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who worked signs in his presence, and by which he led astray those who received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. The two were thrown alive into the lake of fire burning with sulfur. Okay? Brothers and sisters, a lot is going to happen in that day at the last trump. This is why this is crucial for us to learn this. This is crucial for us to get an understanding of this. We got another 7. Let's go to 16. Okay, let's go to 16. We're going to go to 16. Let's start at verse 1 in Revelation 16. Okay. It says, and I heard a loud voice from the dwelling places saying to the 7 messengers, go and pour out the bowls of the wrath of Elohim on the earth. And the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and an evil and wicked sore came upon the men, those having the mark of the beast and those worshiping his image. The second messenger poured out his bowl on the earth, and it became blood as of a dead one, and every living creature in the sea died. And the third messenger poured out his bowl on the rivers of the fountains of the water, and they became blood. And I heard the messengers of the water saying, you are righteous, O Yah, the one who is and who was and who shall be, because you have judged these. Because they have shed the blood of set apart ones and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink, for they deserve it. And I heard another out of the slaughter place saying, yes, Yah El Shaddai, true and righteous are your judgments. And the 4 messengers poured out his bowl. The 4th messenger poured out his bowl on the sun, and it was given to him to burn men with fire. And men were burned with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of Elohim, who possesses authority over the plagues. And they did not repent to give him esteem. Now remember, some people say, oh, this is not fair. You know, this is a cruel, evil God. Remember, even when these things were happening to them, they did not repent. They didn't care. They knew exactly who the Most High of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They knew exactly. They knew what was happening at this time, and they still blasphemed. It didn't matter. They were upset, mad. That's how it goes. In verse 10, and the fifth messenger poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his reign became darkened, and they gnawed their tongues from pain. And they blasphemed the Elohim of the heaven for their pains and their sores, and did not repent of their works. They kept doing the same thing, brothers. And the 6th messenger poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up in order to prepare the way of the sovereigns from the east. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits as frogs. For they are spirits of demons doing signs, which go out to the sovereigns of the entire world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Yah the Almighty. Okay, so they're just gathering, giving out orders, gathering them for war. See, I'm coming as a thief. Blessed is he who is staying awake and guarding his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So it's talking about staying in covenant, still walking in righteousness, obeying the Most High, Elohim, still obeying his laws, his covenant, because that's the only thing that's going to protect you. That's going to identify and signify to the Messiah, okay, I'm with you, right? So we don't have to hear, depart from me, I never knew you. You work as a lawlessness, right? So you want to be lawful, right? And so he's just saying so that this is just poetic language, okay? They're saying that you're gonna get caught slipping, basically, okay? And they gathered them together to the place called, in the Hebrew, Har Megiddo, right? Or Armageddon. And the 7th messenger poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the dwelling place of heaven from the throne, saying, it is done. And there came to be noises and thunderings and lightnings, and there came to be a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as had not came to be since men were on the earth. And the great city became divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babel was remembered before Elohim, to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And great hail from the heaven fell upon men, every hailstone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed Elohim for the plague of the hail, because that plague was exceedingly great. But that plague was exceedingly great. Amen. So we're starting to get this, brothers and sisters. That's what this is all about. The announcement, a proclaiming, a warning. Did you see all the symbolism in this? The places, the different places that we go on to. All the symbol. You know, I'll tell you a few others. I'm just going to tell you a few others, and I'll get out of here. Okay, I'm just going to tell you a few others real quick from the King James, real quick. Isaiah 18:3. All ye inhabitants of the world and dwellers on the earth, see ye when he lifted up an ensign on the mountains, and when he bloweth a trumpet, hear ye. Isaiah 27:13. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come with which were ready to perish in the land of Syria and outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. We read that one. Jeremiah 4:19. My bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. Jeremiah 6:17. Also I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken. We won't listen. Ezekiel 7:14. They have blown the trumpet, even to make all ready, but none goeth to the battle, for my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. To make ready. To make ready. Let me close with Joel. Let me close with Joel real quick. Joel 2:1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain, and let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Sisters, I want to thank you for joining me on this lesson. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Feast of Trumpets. Go and be merry. Be glad in this day. Celebrate this day. Celebrate this Feast of Trumpet. Celebrate that your master and my master, your Yah, my Yah, your Messiah, my Messiah, is coming, and he's coming to win, and he's coming to gather you. Brothers and sisters, you're on the winning side. Rejoice in this day. Remember this day. Memorialize this day. Understand what this day means. This day, and you memorializing this day, says and suggests that you're part of his plan. That you're reading his plan and you're saying, I want in. By recognizing this day. I hope someone's been edified by this lesson. This has been a holy day lesson. The Feast of Trumpets. The King's coming. Shalom, Israel.